This movie was a ton of fun. Hey guys, and welcome back to another brand new video for you today. And as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be talking all things Spider-Man Homecoming. I just saw it last night. Hopefully this will be out when I'm hoping it'll be out, but if it's not, it'll be 2 days for you when I last saw it. But anyway, I saw it on a Thursday night, opening night, and I'll just give you my overall thoughts and impressions of it. First off, I absolutely love this movie. I thought it was great. Now that I've had like 24 hours to kind of mull it over in my mind, I'm like, yes, I want to go see it again tonight. Like, I just want to go see it. It was great. Whenever I see something like that I've been anticipating for a while, and then like I need a little bit of time to think it over, like, okay, did I like that? Did I not like that? But no, I really like it. It was great. If you're watching this, there's going to be spoilers in this, so click off this video if you haven't seen it yet, but if you have, you know that this movie was a ton of fun. It was so much fun. There was so much laughter in it, and I'll get into a little bit more of that later, because it was an adventure in the theater, to say the least. But anyway, I'll just dive into my positives / negatives and my nitpicks or whatever rating and so on. All right, so we go in, we see Peter Parker. He's kind of, I think this was it 6 months or 6 weeks? I could be totally wrong about both of those. But it's after the events of Civil War, and the beginning was great. I loved him, like, him being an actual, like, teenager would act with the cell phone, taking selfies, and that was really fun. And the whole theater, like, gasped in laughter because it was really funny. And so we see that, and then we see he has this new suit that Iron Man has given him, and I'll talk more about it later. It was cool. I don't know which one I like more out of all the previous suits. I've always kind of been a sucker for the very first Spider-Man suit that we ever got with Tobey Maguire, but it got ripped up way too much than it needed to be. I did not like that, but it looked cool. It looked like an actual, like, spider. But this was probably my second favorite. The Andrew Garfield one was a little bit too, I don't know, it looked a little bit too cheap to me, personally, but still good. And we have that, he's got all the electronical digital things and stuff like that. So one of the things I really enjoyed about this film was well, first of all, the humor in it, but also, oh darn it, now I'm forgetting. Why did I just forgot, oh dear. I'll just go between every one of the characters because I completely had a brain fart and now I don't know what I'm doing. So we have him living with his Aunt May, and she was okay, she was fine. I feel like they try to make her too, like, young and hip to be an Aunt May, and I will say, this review is gonna be all over the place. Sorry if I'm starting out with negative reviews. No, it's not a negative, it's just kind of a nitpick. There's one thing that I felt like we missed in this one that we got with the Andrew Garfield ones, and I felt like we were kind of missing the tender-hearted moments with some of the characters and, like, the sweetness. Like, for instance, Andrew Garfield and his Aunt May, I felt like there was a really touching chemistry they had there, and with this one I felt like it was like a young kid and his cool hip mom. I didn't really care for that. I mean, she was fine, she wasn't a huge part of the movie, which is, I guess, okay, because it's not like she was amazing for me. But anyway, that's what it's not like I'm trying to compare it, and if I'm comparing it too much, guys, I'm sorry. But I think because I said this last night, after seeing so many Spider-Man films, I know what I like in Spider-Man and I know what I don't like. I definitely like this version of Spider-Man the best, but there are things that I do miss from the Andrew Garfield, the way he portrayed the character and such and such. Sorry to go into the negatives there a little bit, I didn't mean to do that, but this review is kind of all over the place, so, and I hope I'm not rambling on because I'm trying to get this down. But anyway, the villain I thought was pretty good. Vulture, it's funny, we didn't actually hear him be called Vulture, I don't think, in the movie. Correct me if I'm wrong, let me know down in the comments. But I actually thought, I mean, we pretty much get this with Marvel movie villains. It's kind of like a filler villain, I would say. Just kind of a villain to kind of throw in there to kind of entertain you, but nothing more than that. This guy, he was okay, he was different. I felt like he was kind of fresh than what we've gotten to see from a lot of Marvel villains, and I thought he was pretty good for his role and everything that he did in the film. But yeah, he wasn't a super menacing villain. I was like, for the first half of the film, I was like, okay, what is his motivation for taking these weapons and creating them and selling them. I was like, what is this? And I was like, oh, it's okay, yeah, duh, because he wants the money and he wants to provide for his family, which, by the way, he's got a nice house. I'm, like, surprised. For him needing money, he's got a pretty nice house for his kids. And I was not expecting him to be the father of that Liz girl. I wasn't, like, everyone in the theater was really funny. Everyone in the theater was like, like, you could feel the gasps in the theater room because everyone was like, oh no, what in the world? So I was not expecting that, but I was like, interesting plot twist there. I like that. I didn't like the girl, but I liked him pretty much as a villain. I thought he was pretty solid for his role and what he had to do in the film. So yeah, he was pretty good. His suit was cool, and one of the things, if we're gonna talk about suits now, I wasn't a huge fan of how techy Spider-Man's suit was. I get it, Iron Man made it, it's more convenient, but I just kind of missed that, like let Spider-Man be Spider-Man. It's kind of like a Batman thing. Like, I don't know, like he has a lot of tools, and so those help him with fighting and stuff like that. I'm not saying that that's bad or anything. It's just like, let Spider-Man be Spider-Man. Don't let him rely on all the tech, which I think was kind of like a good, interesting parallel, because we found it, when Iron Man confronts Peter and he's like, I'm nothing without the suit, and Iron Man's like, if you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it. I felt like that was kind of on purpose, maybe, with all the techie stuff of his suit, because he was relying on it. He's like, I need to be cool, I'm gonna rely on it, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I don't know what you think about that. But yes, I thought that maybe it was a little bit too techie, but I loved because at the end, he doesn't have the suit, so he's like, okay, I'm gonna get my sweatpants and hoodie and go out there and save the day, which you never see. And I thought that was good. I just thought that was good. I was like, yes, he's relying on his powers. He's relying on, what he can do, not what the tech can do for him. And I really, really like that. And I think my favorite part of this film was probably won't be anyone's favorite, but the part where all the rubble is on top of Peter, and he's like I felt in that moment you could, like, what we don't see in a lot of superhero films is his vulnerability in that he's scared. I mean, he's only a 15-year-old dude, and like you can tell, like, he's scared. He's just a kid. He's scared. I thought that was a really, really well acted scene. I thought Tom Holland did really well there, and I just thought he portrayed a good vulnerability slash scaredness that he had, with just like, please help me. Like, I can't do it, but if you just pay attention, you're like, I didn't get anything out of that scene. Go back and watch it and just focus in on him as a character. That's what I was trying to do, even though there's people around me, which I'll get into in a few seconds. And so that was probably my favorite scene. That scene, and then just like the end fight scene as well. I thought that was really, really good and really, really cool. It wasn't like this huge major monstrosity scene taken in the city that we usually see from all the previous Spider-Man films. It was kind of on the outskirts of the city, which I really enjoyed. It was something different, something new, and I thought it was just very enjoyable. And so that scene was, I think, my favorite scene. For me, what was missing in the film, like I said, the tender-hearted moments, I felt like that is what we needed, and that's personally what I needed in the film, and that's what sold the film for me, because I was like, we have a lot of comedy, we don't have a whole lot of good, rich moments, I feel like, and going into that, like, you may disagree with me on that, but going into that, like, I was actually surprised Iron Man wasn't a huge part of the film. Like, he was, but he wasn't like the center focus. It felt like they weren't really necessarily relying on Iron Man to give Peter Parker these good moments. And by the way, I love his friend. His friend is awesome, and he's really, really cool. He made me laugh really much. And I guess going into the comedy of this, I think my favorite part of comedy that was shown in this film was probably the part where he's going to that one guy in the parking garage or whatever, and he has that voice modulator. I just thought that was really, really good. Because, in all these superhero films / superhero TV shows, they all have these voice modulators. No one thinks like they're always intimidating, and having a 15-year-old kid try to do it is just, it's good. Hopefully I'll watch this film again soon. I really want to. But the comedy wasn't, I didn't find myself cracking up like the theater room that I was in, but I think I know what that was, is because when I'm watching a movie, guys, and this will be a little tiny rant here, when I'm watching a movie, I want to be sucked into the movie. I want to be in my seat, glued to the screen, and not have any distractions around me. Well, I won't say if it's a man or a woman, but excuse me. I don't know what happened there. I think what made me not maybe laugh as much, that kind of took away from the funniness, is that we had person right beside us that was laughing at scenes that wasn't even funny. So that kind of took me out. I'm sorry. If you're gonna go to the theater, guys, this is just a little pro tip for you / some good advice. Be aware of your surroundings. Be considerate of people next to you, in front of you, behind you. Because, it's just like you don't want to ruin the moments for them. Like, okay, I'll give you a little bit of insight of what it was like in my theater room. We were watching it, and the scene which was an amazing scene, by the way, where Michael Keaton, Vulture, is driving Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and the girl to home. And he was like talking, and you could tell, you can tell Vulture is gonna find out that he's Spider-Man, Peter Parker's Spider-Man, duh. In the moment where he's like, okay, he's putting 2 and 2 together, and he realizes like, oh, this is Spider-Man. the person right next to us, literally, and you may say I'm overreacting on this. No, it was loud. Literally, like, not screamed, but just like, oh, he found out. Yeah, I knew that. I didn't need to be told that, because you kind of ruined the moment for me, but that's okay. I mean, we all have our moments, I guess. But yeah, so that was, speaking of that, we had a very interesting mix of people that I was kind of surrounded with in the movie theater that kind of took me out of the comedy moments, because I couldn't really hear what they were saying because they were laughing so loud, and it just kind of took me out of the film. But that's just my personal opinion. I hope it's different for you guys. I hope you don't have that experience. Maybe you do. Maybe you want that experience. I don't know. But anyway, small rant there, guys. I'll get back to talking about the movie. But anyway, the comedy I thought was really, really good. And there were some moments where I was like, it's a little bit too much comedy. We don't have to, do that much. But anyway, so I guess I already kind of talked about a little bit about my negatives. But I think the 2 biggest negatives were for me, were the tender-hearted moments, like I said, but then we had that one scene that kind of, I was okay with it. I was okay. I'm gonna say it, guys. Michelle, aka Mary Jane, I'm sorry, I didn't like that twist at all. I don't read comics, and I'm always the one ranting that comics are comics, movies and shows are themselves, and they're 2 different things. They're allowed to have, freedom with the script and with the stories. Just don't go too overboard with it. But yeah, she was good. I wasn't really looking forward. I wasn't really impressed with her in the trailers that we saw. I was just kind of like, okay, I hope she doesn't. But she really wasn't in the film a whole lot. Like, she was there, but just kind of like snippets here and there. Like, I thought her comedy worked for the most part. I thought she was kind of funny, but I didn't think she was anything amazing. And then we find out, oh, people call me MJ. And I'm sorry, I know you people may be thinking, oh, she's not the real MJ, Mary Jane. But they're substituting her for the real Mary Jane. I'm sorry, to me, what I loved in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans, my favorite part of that was like the Gwen and Peter Parker storyline. They had great chemistry with each other. They had great moments with each other. They were just a sweet couple. And I'm sorry, I want the redheaded Mary Jane, cute little spunky girl or whatever. I don't know how she's in the comics, but from what I saw, I just feel like we haven't been able to have a really good Mary Jane, and I want that. And I feel like he would look really, now I'm getting all fangirl over here, but I kind of want that just Mary Jane and Peter Parker relationship, and I'm sorry, they just don't have that much chemistry. The Michelle girl, I'm sorry, they just don't. And maybe they'll go into more of that in the future Spider-Man movies. I don't know. But anyway, speaking of couples, we'll go right into something else that I really liked about the movie. Pepper's back! I was not expecting that. I thought that was so good. Let me know if you agree with me on this, but I think they're engaged, right? It wasn't just a publicity stunt. They're engaged now, right? which is like awesome. I'm so excited about that, and I'm just like, yes, yes. I was happy to see them again because they're my favorite Marvel couple out of all the couples, and I just really like that. And so yes, they were really good. But anyway, yes, that was just like a little side thing that I really enjoyed about it. But anyway, yeah, couples, Mary Jane. Not really looking forward to her in the future. But anyway, to me, it's like putting Superman with Batgirl. It's like it just doesn't work. But I'm willing to see it. I'm willing to see it. So I think is that it? I think that's pretty much it. What are my overall thoughts of the episode? And I like how it ended with Iron Man showing Peter Parker, hey, here's a new suit. You can go have a room if you want. You know, we'll get you all set up here. And he's like, no, I think I'd rather be at home, you know, being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I like that because even though his suit was cool, I was like, it's not Spider-Man. I'm like, let him be Spider-Man. Let him have powers and stuff like that. Because we didn't get any, and maybe they'll explore this. He's only 15, so maybe they're going to explore it more as the years have gone on. But it didn't really seem like he had spider senses. But maybe that's just because they didn't show it. But anyway. So I was happy to see that, and the ending was hilarious. I thought that was really good. So that is my overall thoughts of this Spider-Man Homecoming movie, guys. And if I were to rate it, I'll rate it as like a Marvel movie scale, and then I'll rate it as overall Spider-Man films. Okay, I would probably give it a 7.5 for enjoyment, for the quality, and for just being a good, solid Marvel film. As usual, I really loved it, and you need to go see it if you haven't seen it. Sorry if you watched this entire episode or video and you got spoiled on everything. I'm sorry for that. Now you're spoiled if you're watching this and you haven't seen it. But anyway, yes, if you've seen it already, go see it again because it's really good. And if I were to rate it on a Spider-Man scale, it's probably... I'll go and say it's my favorite Spider-Man film, even though I love the first Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man. Not the second one, that one was atrocious. But yes, I'll go with that one because, yeah, it was really good. The comedy and it gave a freshness to it that we haven't seen. He's young. And, okay, I just want to say this right now. What 15-year-old goes with the senior girl to a homecoming dance? I laughed at that because I'm like, you don't see that very much. And she was taller than him. So I'm like, he's either going through puberty or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, I was like, that's a little odd. But if that's a normal thing, more power to you, I guess. But anyway, that is my rating on all the Spider-Man films. I said this review was going to be all over the place. But yes, that is my overall thoughts of this Spider-Man Homecoming film. I really loved it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Please like, subscribe, and share this video if you want. If you want other people to see it, that's great. And please, guys, don't forget, I always forget to do this. Please don't forget to follow me on my Instagram and Twitter. It will be in the links below. In the description box. So please go check those out and follow me so you'll know what's coming ahead and what I've been doing. So you guys have an amazing day, and we'll see you next time.